welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is going on YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and thank you for joining me for another Hot 10 breakdown of the week. If you guys aren't familiar with this video, I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down for you guys, letting you know which I'm a buyer of, and of course which I'd be staying away from. But before we get started in the video, like every video, I ask you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button. I want you to smash the like button because it helps the channel out, and of course if you're interested in merch, I got you covered. Check out all the new links down below. With that said, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting off the list this week is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 30 and the first appearance of Ezekiel Sims, an ally of Spider-Man, against Morlun. Rumor has it that Tahir Rahim is rumored to play the character in the Madam Web movie, and we just had a CGC 9.8 sell last week for only $145, up 21% over the average. With that said, guys, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of modern keys, and I tell you right now that Madam Web movie does not look good at all according to the trailer. With that said, it's cheap enough if you guys want to buy it in a 9.8. I won't be mad at you. Other than that, I definitely am not a buyer of this book. At number 9 this week is a copy of The Sentry number 1, the first appearance of the Sentry in comics. Of course, this character is rumored to be the main antagonist in the Thunderbolts film, and a CGC 9.8 just sold last week for $405, up 17% over the average. Right now in the MCU, things are in massive disarray. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they canceled the Thunderbolts movie. Regardless, to spend $400 on a 9.8 modern key, I'm not going to do it, but it may not be a bad buy if you're into the spec game for MCU films. But for me, I'm staying away. Coming in at the 8th spot this week is a copy of Fantastic Four number 244 and the first appearance of Frankie Ray as the second Nova, and also becomes the Herald of Galactus. And a CGC 9.8 just sold last week for $398, up 11% over the average. We also had a CGC 9.6 sale of only $130, up 15% over the average. You guys know why this book is on this list. There's major spec out there right now that Frankie Ray is going to be the Herald of Galactus. Hell, they're even saying that the Silver Surfer may even be a woman. I have no idea if that's going to come to fruition or not. Either way, I'm not a buyer of this book right here, right now. It's only on here because of the spec rumors, so with that said, I'm staying away. Coming in at number 7 this week is a copy of G.I. Joe Real American Hero number 1 and the first appearance of Team G.I. Joe. And we just had a CGC 9.8 sell last week for $860, up 2% over the average. Then we also had a CGC 9.6 sale of $435, up an insane 44% over the average. We talk about these nostalgia books, and that's really what they are. They were going crazy about a couple of years ago, but ever since then they have really crashed. You probably want to own this book if you're a big G.I. Joe fan. The higher grade, the better. Other than that, guys, I'm not a huge G.I. Joe fan, nor do I really want to spend the money it's going to take to own this book. At number 6 and falling from the top spot is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 210 and the first appearance of Madam Web. You guys also know why this book is on this list. Madam Web coming to theaters next year. And we just had a CGC 9.6 sell last week for $285, up 13% over the average. We also had a CGC 7.5 sale of only $124, up 22% over the average. You guys heard me last week, and I'm going to say it again. This movie looks god awful, so I'm not buying anything related to Madam Web right here, right now. Again, I told you also about 2 weeks ago, I picked up a mid-grade copy for around $48 or whatever it was. That's what I'll be buying if you want to buy this book. No reason to go out there and get a 9.6, 9.8. It is just not worth it for this character. At number 5 this week is a nice Silver Age key. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 2 and the first appearance of the Vulture. But this is also the third appearance of the webhead, Spider-Man. And a CGC 6.5 just sold the prior week for a whopping $4,700, up only 3% over the average. Then we had a CGC 2.0 sale for $1,600, up 6% over the average. For some reason, over the past couple of weeks, I've seen an influx of this book sell on IG live sales. Regardless, to me, it's one of the better Silver Age keys you can get. An ASM Silver Age first appearance. I'm always a buyer of this book. At number 4 and back on this list is a copy of Conan the Barbarian number 1 and the first appearance of Conan the Barbarian, and a CGC 7.5 just sold last week for only $450, up 3% over the average. Then we had a CGC 6.0 sale of $375, up 16% over the average. I told you guys this last time the book was on the list. A nice Silver Age first appearance nobody seems to be talking about, and is still relatively cheap. That is the reason why I'm a buyer of this book. Again, you can get a true Silver Age first appearance for under $500 in high grade. I'm all over it. Coming in at number 3 this week is a copy of Godzilla number 1 and the first ongoing Godzilla series published for the US market, and a CGC 9.8 just sold last week for $445, up 9% over the average. Again, this is another nostalgia book to me. Again, a 9.8 for under $500. It's really not that bad, but again, if you're a huge Godzilla fan, you probably want to own the book, but if you're not, what's the purpose of buying this book right here, right now? I'd love to hear your comments down below. I'm staying away. Whoa, at the 2 spot, guys, it is a massive Bronze Age key. Finally back on the list is a copy of Giant Size X-Men number 1 and the first appearance of the new X-Men team containing Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Thunderbird, and Wolverine. And we just had a CGC 9.4 sale of $7,500, up only 1% over the average. Then we had a CGC 7.5 sale of $3,200, up again only 1% over the average. I don't understand why this book is at the 2 spot if it's only up 1% in 2 of these grades. Regardless, it's one of the better Bronze Age keys you could buy. This book has really come down in price over the last couple of years, and it makes me hesitant to go ahead and say, go ahead and jump in right here, right now. However, if you're a long-term holder, I will give it my blessing. Buy the grade that you can afford, but hey, if you just want to own the book, it's a must-have for any X-Men fan. I'm giving it a thumbs up. And finally, at the top spot this week and climbing all the way up the list is a copy of Avengers number 57 and the first appearance of Vision. But if you didn't know, this is also the second appearance of Ultron, and a CGC 9.2 just sold last week for $1,800, up 8% over the average. Then we had a CGC 5.5 sale of $375, up 18% over the average. Another Silver Age gem that's been really undervalued for such a long time. Got a spike when Vision entered the MCU and Avengers Age of Ultron. Regardless, guys, it is still cheap enough where you can go ahead and buy this book. If I'm going to spend high dollar amounts, though, I'm probably not looking to buy Avengers 57. Regardless, it's still a nice Silver Age book where I say, hey, if you want it, go ahead and buy it. That is the list for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, if you differ from some of my opinions, it's okay. I am not the god of comics, I will say that. But let me know what you think down in the comments. As you guys know, it is now time for my best buy of the week, and it really came down to Amazing Spider-Man number 2, first appearance of the Vulture, and of course, Giant Size X-Men 1. When in doubt, silver always trumps bronze, and because I don't think the Bronze Age books have really bottomed yet, I'm going with ASM number 2. I think buying Silver Age Amazing Spider-Man right now is a great way to go. With that said, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.